it is disheartening to say that Madrid will eventually have a better season than Barcelona, because that is how it's turning out to be. Because you cannot understand that this is the same Barcelona that we are flying high during the latter days of 2025. Now, to now say that they've lost 2 games in 2026 already, and they've surrendered the La Liga lead to Madrid that everybody have been saying are in turmoil, then that means we need to find a new definition for the term turmoil, because all of a sudden Barcelona is now the team that is all over the place. And now, Hansi Flick must understand that this is football at its elitistic peak. Now, football does not get better than this. You don't play football higher than Madrid and Barcelona. If you are a coach and you have coached Barcelona or Madrid, you have coached the best, you don't have any aspirations again, except you want to go into national team coaching, just as Ancelotti has gone into national football coaching in Brazil. So there's nothing to it. So you can sit at any table and discuss football in its entirety. Because why? You have coached the best club in Madrid and you have coached the best club in Barcelona. So you have nothing on you again. So you understand that Hansi Flick was once a coach in Bayern Munich. And then I began to watch their games when he was coaching there. Then I found out that the high line he's keeping at Barcelona now was not this ridiculous back then when he was coaching Bayern Munich. Because if it was this ridiculous, the 2020 final they played against PSG would have easily won the game, because PSG had prime Neymar featured in that game, and they had Mbappe, who was reeling with speed, was filled with speed to the highest. But they won that game by name, that is Bayern Munich. So you could see that he became obsessed, too obsessed with this high line when he came to Barcelona, and he has taken it to another level that football has never seen. Now, the only reason he gives that he uses this high line is to suffocate the opposition players into submission, so that they will create overload and create chances for his attacking players to thrive. But that has not been the case in the past 2 games. Losing 4-0 to Atletico Madrid, then losing 2-1 in your backyard in Montilivi to Girona is nothing to write to me about. It does not give reason to trust the process any longer, because there was one case in the match whereby Girona had the ball and they were close to Barcelona's high line, and Barcelona had 8 men that were keeping that high line, and Barcelona could not even send 3 people, 3 players to go and safeguard the defense, to go and safeguard the 18 and keep the attackers at bay, Girona's attackers at bay. What did they do? They were keeping the high line, and just one person still managed to run in between the line, and nobody was marking him, and had one-on-one, and they nearly scored from that attack. Then you now understand that it seems that these people are obsessed. They are getting it wrong. In football, this can never work, because the only time it works is if the players becomes robot automatically, whereby you have to click a button to activate their readiness, their alertness. That is the only time it will work. As long as they are humans, you must have lapses. You must have those times whereby 1 or 2 nerves in your body is attempting to relax. Then all of a sudden, it will be called and required to spring into action to try to cut someone off from being from offside. Then it will be hard. As long as human being, this thing will not work. So whoever Barcelona eventually elects as their new president must tell him that this is too risky. This is too much risk and little reward, because look at for all the line they kept last night. They could not get a second goal. So what is now the point for keeping the high line? Then the aim has been defeated. That is what I'm saying. If the risk is greater than the reward, then what is the point? Because if you play top team side, if you play top team, they will give you, they'll spank you game in, game out. This same Barcelona, with what I watched them play against Girona, they can't even defeat Atletico Madrid in the second leg. They can't. They can't defeat them in the second leg, because the errors is just too much, and everybody still collapsed just as they did against Atletico Madrid. So there is now problem in the pitch. I'm beginning to get the idea that the players, they are no longer buying into Flick's highline philosophy, because it's giving them too much to recover from every game. So it's taking a toll on the players. The players are giving too much, and the highline is requiring too much from them, because before you can even settle into a game properly, you've conceded. So constantly you're always tasked with the responsibility of trying to recover mentally, game in, game out. So it's not sustainable. How can you score your first goal at the 59th minute mark, then they will equalize you 3 minutes later, 62 minutes? Does it make sense? Where will you find the resolve to continue playing football in such manner as players? Look at Lamine Yamal. He was nowhere to be seen, and it's understandable. The pressure is too much for this young Barcelona side, because they are always finding themselves, picking themselves up from one good deficit or another. So to me, Hansi Flick needs to just play like a normal, regular human being. Look at the team that are playing closer to the goalpost, to their own goalpost, so that they will short the line against their goalkeeper. They are scoring. They are even scoring you. So that means the idea that you have that we want to be closer to these people's 18 so that we'll score more goals, it's not longer working. And the people that are closer to their own 18 are now scoring you more, because it's easier to break you down on the counter, because you are trying to play spiritually low football. Because if you continue like this, Lamine Yamal will just waste his talent. Because that is one of the players I'm worried about, I'm concerned about. Because how can this boy compete with the likes of Mbappe, the likes of Vinicius, with the likes of Haaland, if they don't win La Liga and they don't win Copa del Rey and they don't go far deep into the Champions League knockout phase, or do they ever win any of those things? Because as it stands now, I don't think they win anything. Because if they continue like this, that means they will even drop further down in La Liga than they are already. So it's a huge problem. That is one thing I'm saying, that this form needs to be arrested. And Hansi Flick needs to relax this is high-handedness in terms of implementing this is high line. It's too diabolical. You must reduce your hand. Guardiola don't play it like this. Study the football grades and tailor your football tactics accordingly, because that is the only way. Look at Barcelona, look at Madrid. They don't keep high line, but they scored 4 goals against Real Sociedad that defeated the same Barcelona. So you should see that the problem is with the system as it stands now, because the system is not even affording the players opportunity to thrive. So you must know that there is a lot of problems that need urgent attention, and you must give those attention to those problems. If not, they are going to linger, and they are going to spoil the whole campaign that seemed to be promising earlier this year, or at the tail end of last season. So it's a problem. So he should stop this. Look at last night. He could not even watch when Lamine Yamal took the penalty. How can you be a coach and you don't have the heart of steel? That is a problem. It was a worry sight for me to behold. You're supposed to watch. Whatever comes, it comes. Prepare well. Tell this boy to take his penalty practice seriously. Whatever comes out of it, you take it. Then you prepare more for unforeseen circumstances. Not that you're looking away like a coward or not wanting to look at a penalty being taken. And look at how speechless he was. And look at that goal that was scored. That was the eventual winner. That is a foul on Koundé, for Christ's sakes. What is wrong with these referees? Why is it that no game day will pass without us coming to complain about refereeing decision? You complain the same in England. You come to Spain again and still complain about referee. Then what is the problem with world football? Why is it that FIFA, if UEFA cannot do anything, why is FIFA keeping quiet? FIFA should say something and try to put these guys on their toes, that you people should do better, because even a blind man could see that was a clear foul on Koundé, and they were saying that he got the ball. Then the follow through was make him to stamp his foot on the ankle of Jules Koundé. Is that not mental? If the reverse was the case, would the referee blew that to be a goal? Or will it have given that to be a goal? No. So this inconsistency is too much. At least that should have been a draw for Barcelona. Or maybe they would have eventually gone and gotten the win, which is still very debatable, because I did not see the urgency in that play. Nothing was enthusiastic in terms of Barcelona's play. Nothing. It was as if they knew that they could not win that game. Even though they would have given them 10 hours to play that match, Barcelona wouldn't have scored the winning goal because they were so lackadaisical. Their passes were so disjointed. Everything was so out of sort. They're so disorganized. Man, this is going to be a long season for Barcelona. And it pains me for me to see that their season is unraveling in this manner. Yuck. So sad. Hansi Flick, this whole thing rests on your table. You afford team too many opportunities in world football as it stands, in the top 5 leagues in world football. The team that presents opportunities more chances more to opposition teams is Barcelona. So easy. If not that Girona were too lackadaisical, they could have scored 5 without Barcelona scoring any goal apart from that Kubasi goal. That was how dominant they were in chances creation. That was how dominant they were. So Barcelona must know that they are in a huge mess if something is not done, and it must be done quickly. Because if I started watching the game, I knew that Barcelona were not getting this 3 points. They themselves, they knew that there's no how they will get the 3 points. So something needs to change. If not, the whole season is going to be a failure.